with my friends, and I think that they hate me.
Welcome back to Nerd Thug Radio. I'm the Captain Joey Savage. That's Angry Zach. That's Colt over there. These are the DLGs.
Yeah, we're here. Hey.
You're listening to us on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Sister stations?
Oh, there it is. And worldwide at irlonestar.com. Nice. So let's close this thing down. Let's talk a little Rick and Morty.
Oh, heck
It's
yeah.
been a while since you've been on the show, and Rick and Morty season 3 is ended.
Yeah,
over.
And we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. I'm pretty jazzed.
So, your thoughts, Nico D.
All right, I said this.
Actually, hold on, wait.
Wait,
Vicky,
hold on.
what are your thoughts on Rick and Morty season 3?
Did you watch it?
All right, Nico, what are your thoughts?
Cool. So, I have a very strong opinions on season 3, and I think that it has the...
I just need... Hang on. Have you seen any Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
She's watched
Why
episodes.
do you say yeah like that? Like it's not consuming you like it is me.
Because it's a simple and effective answer.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I do. I don't get to watch as much TV as I would like.
Television.
There's so much
Trying
good
At least
TV.
this
There's
season
so
one.
much good
So
TV,
much
but
good
I
TV.
don't. I
My
genuinely.
cues are starting to really stress me out. Like the
Yeah,
things
and
I
then you
haven't
get
queued to
overwhelmed
watch,
of
I do
all
get
the things
overwhelmed.
you have to
And
watch.
I get overwhelmed.
I want to see all
I get
these
overwhelmed
things.
and just rewatch Parks and Rec and Rick and Morty.
I just
Solid.
I do it at the office.
Anyway, so let's talk about Rick and Morty.
All right, Nico, your thoughts on
So-
season 3, Rick and Morty.
My thoughts is that this season is bipolar, and it has some of the best best episodes in the entire series, and some of the worst episodes in the entire.
Which ones are the best ones?
Yeah, yeah. I need you to clarify. Let's
And
start.
the worst ones. Let's go.
So, Morty's Mind Blowers was one of my least favorite episodes in the entire series.
Why?
It wasn't as funny
As
as
you
the
anticipated?
other clip episodes. I think mainly because they didn't draw out the clips long enough for them.
Wasn't
to,
that like the improv one though?
Yeah, it's the improv episode, but I think they set up a funny scene and they're like, oh, isn't that funny? And then like they just ended. Like the thing about like Ants in My Eyes Johnson, like it's not that funny of a joke, but the fact that they ran for it for like a whole like minute and a half,
Ants in My Eyes Johnson.
and then it just got progressively worse.
I don't know. I also can't
got-
feel pain. That's also a thing. But
Right,
it
and then
doesn't
he-
get as much attention.
And it's not so much longer to say. Like,
Right.
like it keeps getting progressively more ridiculous, and like the background is so well detailed. And the fact that like all his prices, like I hope their prices aren't too high, and like everything's free or like
Right.
$1.
Right.
And some people are just like running
like,
in
"Oh,
and
is this a
stealing
toaster?"
microwaves. Like that's like a really well thought out joke.
But here's the thing: is that because like the Morty's Mind Blower, and you're right, it was shorter bits, and they were concise and tiny, and like almost building to something, but not quite. But that's much more the normal TV standard, right? Like,
Right.
The Ants in the Eyes Johnson, that's a phenomenal thing, but that never would have happened on a regular TV show.
No, that's true.
So like are you saying that the Rick and Morty, the lows of this season were low for Rick and Morty,
Yes.
or just not good shows?
I don't think that they were bad. I don't think any like I didn't finish watching an episode this season and be like I did not like this episode. It was a lot of I didn't like this episode in the context of Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Because I don't think it was a bad episode of television. I just thought, as by Rick and Morty
standards, it
I
wasn't.
didn't think it was that good. And
I
also-
do think, though, that even though, and I don't disagree with you about some of the shows being low. You said it over the break, and I started thinking about it, and I don't disagree. But what I do think is every show this season contributed to the arc of the entire season much stronger than any other season.
Right.
Like the whole Summer and Morty becoming disillusioned with Rick and realizing they don't need him and realizing he's really not just a guy who's pretending to be a jerk. He's
Right.
really a terrible person.
He really is a terrible person.
Every show lent to that, and even Morty's Mind Blowers lent to that, I think, more than probably any other show, any other season arc.
Right. No, I definitely agree.
So, what are some of your favorite shows from this season?
I think the by far the highlight of this was the Citadel episode.
The Return of Evil Morty.
Agreed.
Yeah, the Return of Evil.
man,
agreed.
Seeing
So
the Evil
good.
Morty, seeing everything tied together, especially because this is a season and a half later. This
Right.
wasn't. This isn't.
Right.
This isn't like.
It's not like
this
a-
isn't just
it's
something
not
that
like
happened 2 episodes
Right,
ago.
it's not like an episode one to call back to the season finale.
Plus, and then
Right,
because the
right.
seasons weren't released once a year as well, that was a long time before you saw
it's
them.
been almost
And
2
even
years.
the fact that you saw it coming
And about-
didn't
Right.
diminish it any, right? Like, because I don't think anybody
year
here,
and a
anybody who watches
half.
Rick and Morty didn't know that was going to be Evil Morty, right?
Right. Yeah.
But like that, oh yeah, it was.
I
so
think
good.
it was
and
it was the best episode of the entire season.
And it was
Oh,
so
it was really
well acted and so
Right.
well
So-
written. Like even the small jokes, like put it in your blog, like stuff like that is so funny and like it's nothing. And that's one guy because it's Justin Roiland, right, who does Rick and Morty. Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
And like for him to do the whole episode by himself, except for the guy who does the voiceover for the candy,
Yeah.
like it was incredible. Like that's such.
And seeing like Rick and Morty society after a post-citadel destruction
Yeah,
after the
right.
Council of Ricks, like it was
Right.
such a well thought out like episode,
Right.
especially like continuing it. I love it. It is the
When
best
they just
episode.
walk into
yeah.
the bar off the Mortys are dancing.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And he
Right.
offers a worse price for 2 dances instead of just one bite.
Right.
He's like, that's bad math. Check your. He's like,
Good. Oh my god.
There you go.
Look at this face.
Oh, it was so awesome.
I also really dig
But,
the
like,
Pickle
and it-
Rick episode.
And it gave so much dimension to the Citadel, right?
Right,
Sorry,
yeah.
we'll come back to Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
But like up until this point, like the Citadel of Ricks has just been like the antagonist for Rick, right?
Right.
But like to have a whole episode where it develops that society, because like really, if you start to think about it, like an infinite number of Ricks does mean that like some of those Ricks are going to do terrible jobs.
right.
Right.
Like no matter how smart they are. Like I thought it was. Yeah, I'm with you. It was phenomenal all the way around. Like it was
Yeah,
well
it's
written,
the best
well
episode.
acted. It was
Oh, yeah.
conceptually brilliant.
Also, I think it should have been the season finale, not the season finale we actually got.
I
Oh, yeah.
disagree.
The season finale
I
was
wholeheartedly
weak.
disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Maybe not the season
I think it
finale.
was the tentpole episode of the season.
Tentpole.
But to have it be the season finale would have diminished it in some way because it didn't wrap anything up from the season. It didn't
That's true.
complete the arc. Had it been the season finale, we all would have loved it, but we all would have been wanting more. Like, okay,
Right.
well, but what about Rick? What's going on with Rick and Morty?
That's
like,
true.
It wouldn't have worked as a season finale.
No, that's true. That's
And
a
I
fair
didn't
point.
dislike the season finale.
I thought the ending. I thought the ending of the season was very weak.
Oh no, compared to the last two,
Yeah,
For sure.
Very,
but
very weak.
again,
For
but,
sure.
but again, but if you look at the season arc where Rick and I keep doing that, where Summer and Morty,
Summy and Morty, Summy and Morty.
They're just one
Summy and Mortar.
where Summer and Morty are becoming disillusioned with Rick and don't think he's that great and don't think he's a savior anymore. Like
Right.
to have it be a weak ending and just kind of fizzle out, I think it does a lot for the season arc. I think it says a lot about the season itself, and it leaves us as the viewer feeling probably pretty close to the same way Morty and Summer feel about Rick.
Right, but
Fair
when
enough.
you have a show like this who's had finished 2 seasons really, really strong, you expect that to be really, really strong, or some big cliffhanger or something to that
I didn't.
magnitude.
Okay, I didn't want it. I understand a feeling of just getting out because I feel like the arc was very obvious. It wasn't
Oh, yeah.
like it wasn't like the subtle arc. Like,
No, it wasn't.
hints that they did in season 2. Because I mean that's what they talked about. They talked about this before season 3 came out. They're like, we're trying to make the show more interconnected so that people feel the progression as it goes through.
Right.
I felt it was a little bit forced in. Like I think the best like real world thing we got was at the end of the Pickle Rick episode
So good.
where he got just like the stern talking to by the counselor.
Right.
Like just pushing down like Rick and showing him as a real person, showing that he was wrong. Like I think that was the best time that they showed Rick's flaws because I feel like in
Right.
the rest of the season,
Right.
they kept saying he was terrible, but never like,
Never,
and he clearly
never
like,
terrible things happening.
right.
I agree. I think the Pickle Rick episode when with Susan Sarandon, by the way, can we address that?
I love me some Susan
With
Sarandon.
like Susan Sarandon
Oh,
as the
man.
counselor, you're absolutely right.
So
like,
hot.
that put a bow very neatly on the arc for the season, but it happened very, very early.
It happened in the first episode of season, but no, second episode.
Well, and one of the
Pickle
things,
Rick?
Yeah.
Well, and I get
3, right? Was it 3?
2 or 3. I
and
think.
I,
Episode 2.
and I get
Two?
and I
Yeah.
get Dan Harmon, like I get that, right? Like where they want to make the arcs more obvious, because one of the biggest complaints about Community is that not only did it reward you for being a longtime viewer, like it made you feel like you were part of a cool club if you caught the inside jokes and stuff, but it excluded you
If you
you
didn't.
were new to the show.
Right.
Fair enough.
So I get where they're coming from on that. I don't know. I like the season and I like the arc. I wasn't as disappointed by the season finale as a lot of people were, though.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Fair point. Yes.
I like. God, it's so good. It's just so
I also
good.
really do like the ending where he comes in as Fly Fish and Rick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm
Right.
Fly Fish and Rick. We
Right.
kind of migrate to different dimensions like hermit
Right.
crabs.
I want.
I'm Fly Fisherman Rick
Right. I
You can
want.
tell by my attire and my love for Fly Fish.
Right.
in my hat. Oh man, it's a
I
great
really
show.
would like the relationship between Jerry and like mildly retarded Rick also to be developed in
Oh,
later
Doofus
seasons.
Rick?
Right. Like
That
I
Rick
thought
is
that was
poop.
so that was so like it was season 2, but like it was one of maybe the most touching moments I've ever seen on television. And I know that sounds ridiculous talking about Rick and Morty.
does.
But like, one of the things I like most about TV is that you can pick out individual moments that no matter how ridiculous or terrible the rest of the show is, I think it's very easy to recognize things like that in shows. And that was easily one of the most touching moments I've ever seen on TV. Like where he really felt a connection, and like when they're talking about the R2D2 coins, and like it's like, because who amongst us hasn't bought something ridiculous but still felt a huge emotional attachment to it,
everything.
and like needs that validation. Like I spent money on dumb things that just meant a lot to me, but like how great would it be to have someone to validate it, be like, yeah, you know what? If it makes you happy, then it is good that you got it. It makes you happy. Like, and I think there's a lot. You're the worst.
Thank you.
God, you can derail a conversation like nobody I know.
What are your opinions on the Pickle Rick meme?
Yeah, let's talk about
I
Pickle
love
Rick.
Pickle Rick, man.
I have very strong opinions about Pickle Rick. I
Hurry, you've
think
only
it was
got 30 seconds.
I think it's a very divisive thing, especially in the community of Rick and Morty, because how dare you?
Yeah.
I was
30
thinking.
seconds.
You're not close yet.
All right, so Pickle Rick was a very like divisive point because like I think it's kind of funny to be like, hey, it's Pickle Rick. Like it's kind of it's funny.
It's
like the
funny.
First, it's funny like the first time, but like I feel like it's just like a dead meme at this point.
Yeah.
It feels very forced.
Well, it can very easily be viewed as just a bit, like, haha, here's another weird thing that Rick's doing, right?
Right.
But it's one of those things that contextually, like, it really points out the deep-seated
He turned
jagged
himself into a
mind he
pickle.
has, right?
Right, I'm gonna turn myself into a
to avoid spending time with his family,
And then
he
gets
turned
himself in a pickle. Yeah.
My life is over.
God, you're the worst.
I am the best.
What a
And with that,
weak-
we're
what
gonna
a weak way to end this
and
segment.
we're gonna end the show, episode 84
This is true.
of the Nerd Thug Radio. That is also true. Don't forget, check us out. The podcast drops tomorrow. You can catch us at facebook.com/Nerd Thug Radio. And as Corey would say,
Same Nerd Thug time, same Nerd Thug channel.
Almost got it right.
Yeah, almost.
Nerd Thug Radio.